Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us, coming to you from Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. Of course, that's Security Gun Club right here in Woodinville, Washington. Hey, listen, I thought when Bob Ferguson number 2 and Bob Ferguson number 3 withdrew from the governor's race, that would be the end of the story. But it appears it's really just the beginning, because what once was an idea of one video has now morphing into a third video. What am I talking about now? Well, apparently the individuals who sponsored Bob Ferguson number 2 and Bob Ferguson number 3 have become rather privy to some cursed conversations that Attorney General Ferguson had with Secretary of State Steve Hobbs, some of which was highlighted in this video. But now they're claiming that your Attorney General actually broke the law and for that reason should have to withdraw from the race and or be disqualified. Now, I know many of you are thinking that is a wonderful idea, but in typical Washington gun law fashion, what we're going to do is we're going to objectively research the law, give it to you straight, and then we're going to let you guys decide, should the Attorney General actually be removed from the race? So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about, did Bob really break the law? Okay, hey, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by the Mantix X10 Elite Training System. Listen, we preach all the time here about lawful and responsible gun ownership. What does that mean? It means you need to be confident, you need to be proficient in the use of your firearm. It means that your groups should look a little like this. Unfortunately, if you're honest with yourself, you know your groups are looking a little bit more like that. But do you really have the time and money necessary needed to train at the range all the time? Well, that's why you can train confidently at home, save thousands on ammunition, and avoid range douches like this guy right here. And did you know that 94% of all shooters improve within just 20 minutes on the Mantix X10 Elite? Listen, the Mantix X10 Elite is used by the United States Marine Corps, the United States Army, and Special Forces. And here's the cool thing, the Mantix X10 Elite, well, it works with just about every platform of firearm. So whether you're firing a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, or even archery, Mantix X10 will make you better. And here's the best part, all you need is the Mantix training aid and a smartphone with the app already installed on it. And the app's the best part because you're gonna get free updates for life. There's no subscription. It will store all your data. It will even allow you to build groups so that you can share data with your friends to see who's doing better and who needs to keep working. And come to think of it, it would make a great Father's Day gift, wouldn't it? Because after all, Dad's got enough ties already, doesn't he? So listen, if you're ready to take your training to the next level or you just wanna do something really cool for Dad this Father's Day, click on that link right there, or for more information, visit my good friends at mantixx.com. Okay, quick timeline of what we're talking about in case you've been living under a rock for the last couple of weeks. On May 10th, the last day in which you could file for office in the state of Washington, not one, but two other Bob Fergusons, one from Yakima, one from Graham, both filed as Democrats in the Washington state gubernatorial race. This was apparently at the bequest and sponsorship of conservative journalist Glenn Morgan. That sent Attorney General Ferguson into an absolute conniption fit, a total tantrum, which was, we now found out, he spent the entire weekend absolutely laying into the Secretary of State and conspiring on how to intimidate these people back out of the race. By May 13th, that Monday, he was up on Queen Anne Hill having yet another tantrum, this time with a microphone. And at one point, we had the Washington State Attorney General actually threatening his political opponents with criminal prosecution because, well, they were his political opponents. Now, at the time of the press conference, one of the Bob Fergusons had already dropped out. A short time later, the second one did. One would assume that that was the end of the story, right? Wrong. No, because actually we're finding out more and more about Attorney General Ferguson's reactions, and that is what is drawing the interest of a lot of individuals, including other opponents of his within the Democratic Party. Now, to give you an idea of just how bad things got between Attorney General Ferguson and Secretary of State Steve Hobbs during that dreaded weekend with three Bob Fergusons in the race, consider this quote from mynorthwest.com.
And then he wanted me to reorder the ballot. I was like, I can't do that. The Secretary of State said Ferguson responded, bull, you could push the envelope. To which Hobbs responded, no, actually, I can't do that.
Now, at the time that we did this video, I was critical of the Attorney General. I said, I can't believe you're out there saying all these things. Why do you not appoint special counsel? Turns out that the reason that didn't happen is that there is no authority for the Attorney General in Washington State to appoint special counsel. And I had to go digging, and I found a 1959 Attorney General opinion written by then Attorney General John O'Connell, which specifically stated that the Attorney General's statutory authorities do not include the authority to appoint special counsel. But here's the pushback that Attorney General Ferguson is getting, not only from those on the opposite side of the aisle, but from those within his own party, because many are now accusing Attorney General Ferguson of violating the law. Officially, what they are stating is that he is in violation of Washington's official misconduct statute found in RCW 9A.80.010. And they are alleging that specifically his violation occurred under subsection 1A of that statute. Now we're going to go down a deep, deep rabbit hole here, but I'm going to go fast and furious at you with the law so that you can understand. And then we want to hear from all of you. Do you think that Attorney General Ferguson actually engaged in criminal conduct? And do you think he's done anything that warrants him either being excluded from the race or being forced to resign? Those right now who are claiming that criminal misconduct occurred is actually citing under the statute official misconduct. That is found in RCW 9A.80.010, and they are specifically alleging that this criminal activity occurred under subsection 1A, which reads as follows. 1. A public servant is guilty of official misconduct if, with intent to obtain a benefit or to deprive another person of a lawful right or privilege, A, he or she intentionally commits an unauthorized act under the color of law. So, did Attorney General Ferguson commit an unauthorized act under the color of state law? Well, everything that the Attorney General does is acting under the color of state law. But what's the unauthorized act? I mean, he certainly acted a little bit like a jackass. He certainly acted a little bit like a 7-year-old having a massive temper tantrum. But did he actually engage in criminal conduct? Even him asking the Secretary of State to bend the rules and yet not providing any kind of incentive for him to do that or anything like that. Again, distasteful? Absolutely. Something that every voter should be aware of? Absolutely. Does it rise to the level of criminal conduct? I'm going to leave that to you. So really, if you don't find that he's committed official misconduct, you're going to have to find that he committed some other type of crime. How about the crime of coercion found under RCW 9A.36.070? That statute states, a person is guilty of coercion if by use of a threat he or she compels or induces a person to engage in conduct which the latter has a legal right to abstain from, or to abstain from conduct which he or she has a legal right to engage in. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Possibly, but we have to keep reading the statute because we also will learn 2. Threat as used in this section means A, to communicate directly or indirectly the intent immediately to use force against any person who is present at the time, or, and again, there is no allegations of Attorney General Ferguson threatening anybody with violence whatsoever. But there's an or. What does the or say? Threats as defined in RCW 9A.04.110, subsection 28A, B, or C. Okay, so there's at least 3 other ways in which we could argue that the Attorney General participated in threatening behavior which would make him guilty under the coercion statute. What are they? A, to cause bodily injury in the future to the person threatened or to any other person, or B, to cause physical damage to the property of a person other than the actor, or C, to subject the person threatened or any other person to physical confinement or restraint. And again, as distasteful as I think that Attorney General Ferguson's actions were, I leave it to you, did any of his behavior rise to that level? Now, interestingly, had the coercion statute actually added more subsections from the threat statute that we just cited to, we would have eventually got down to subsection H, which reads, to take wrongful action as an official agent against anyone or anything, or wrongfully withhold official action or cause such action or withholding. And had the Attorney General followed through with the lawsuit that he was all braggadocious about, he arguably could have violated subsection H, but again, subsection H is not one of the sub-factors to be considered in the coercion statute. Okay, and then if you want to keep digging, how about the crime of harassment? That is found in RCW 98.46.020. And that criminal behavior is defined as a person is guilty of harassment if A, without lawful authority, the person knowingly threatens, 1, to cause bodily injury immediately or in the future to the person threatened or to any other person, or 2, to cause physical damage to the property of a person other than the actor, or 3, to subject the person threatened or any other person to physical confinement or restraint, or 4, maliciously to do any other act which is intended to substantially harm the person threatened or another with respect to his or her physical health or safety. So once again, I leave with you. Did Attorney General Ferguson actually engage in any behavior that could be quantified under the criminal harassment statute? And then finally, everyone's saying, hey, listen, these allegations alone make him ineligible for governor. They should exclude him from the race and he should withdraw. Is any of that remotely close to being true? Well, what we're going to do is actually read you the statute as to what disqualifies a person for public office. That statute is RCW 42.04.020, which specifically reads that no person shall be competent to qualify for or hold any elective public office within the state of Washington or any county, district, precinct, school district, municipal corporation, or other district or political subdivision unless he or she be a citizen of the United States and state of Washington and an elector of such county, district, precinct, school district, municipality, or other district or political subdivision. Which basically means about the only thing that would disqualify a person, so long as they live within the correct jurisdiction, is that they're not a registered voter. And the only thing that could preclude somebody like Bob Ferguson and almost all other lawful individuals from being a registered voter is to be convicted of a felony. So, there's a bunch of loaded questions, and I want to hear from all of you in the description box. Do you think that Attorney General Ferguson engaged in official misconduct? If so, what was the underlying crime that you believe he did? And number 3, do you believe that he should be excluded from running for governor or should be asked to withdraw from the race? Now, I know what all of you are thinking with your hearts, but this is an exercise where we're going to think with our brains and we're going to geek out on what the law says as well. If you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information, it's down there in the description box. If you got ideas for videos that we should be doing here at Washington Gun Law, go ahead and click on that link right there, because some of the best videos we ever did weren't really our ideas to begin with. And then finally, I want everyone to remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.